older sibling that wants to go to college, we also help them. So even if they've graduated from high school a long time ago, they can still sign up with us. But we've been around for over 20 years, so longer than most of you have been alive. So we've been around a while. And basically, we try to make the process of applying to college, going to college, and staying in college easier. So when students sign up with our program, and again, our program is completely free. Normally we kind of sign you up and kind of see where you're at in the process, because everyone's in a different process. So if you're a junior, you're probably, maybe thinking about some colleges you might want to apply to. When you're a senior, you're really like working on a lot of different things with applications, with FAFSA that I'll talk more about, college tours, different things like that. So when you are a senior, and again, some of you may have already started applying to college, but we try to help students kind of figure out what schools you want to apply to. I know a lot of you mentioned like local schools in Syracuse. Normally, if we weren't in a pandemic, we would bring students to different college campuses across New York just to kind of get an idea of what other places in New York look like and the campuses. We are doing virtual college tours. Is there a way to share my screen? Actually, I just wanted to share. Or maybe not. If not, it's okay. I can email it to you after.
Figure out how to do it.
We have a virtual college tour calendar for the month of November and the first week of December. So I can definitely make sure that you all can get that information as well. But we also, even if you're like, I don't know if I want to go to college, we help anything really that you want to do after high school, we help with. So maybe it's you want to become a plumber or a truck driver or really anything else. And maybe you're like, I don't know if college is for me. That's okay. We will work with you. You can still sign up for our program and helping you figure out what you want to do.
Hold on. I think you should be able to share your screen, so give it a try.
Yeah? Okay. Can you see it?
Yep. All right. Good.
Okay. So I think Nicole sent this form out. But this is, hopefully you can see it okay. This is our college tours for the months of November and December. So I also wanted to put that on my screen just so you all can kind of have an idea of some of the virtual college tours we have coming up. So you can either, let me put this in presentation mode. You can either scan the QR code, which I think still works on a screen, or you can take a screenshot if you're on your phone or write down the phone numbers up above. And so, yeah, these are our virtual college tours that are coming up. So you can ask, maybe you have some questions to ask SU or OCC, or maybe you want to get to some more information about another school. So yeah, like I was saying, we even if you're not sure if you want to go to college, but you want to do some type of job training after, we can help you with that. And then comes college applications or applying to job training programs. So we kind of help you try to figure out what kind of school you want. Do you want to stay in Syracuse? Do you want to try to go to a different city? Do you want to go to a big school, a small school? What do you want to study? We kind of help students try to figure out all that if you're not sure of what that is. Some students already come into our office knowing that. Some already have applied to school and others just aren't sure. So we help with that. And then we help with FAFSA, which is a really big part of going to college. So the FAFSA is a federal application that every student pretty much fills out to help get money to pay for school. So we help students fill that out because it can be a little bit complicated sometimes, and we want to make sure that everything goes as smooth as possible. So there's logins that you have to make for that. Again, maybe some of you have already done that. And if you live with a parent or parents, you need their information, their tax information to fill out. So we help students fill that out with you and your parents if you need help filling that out. Any questions we have about FAFSA, we try to help navigate and making sure that you can submit that successfully. And I can definitely open it up for questions at the end if you have more questions about FAFSA. And then TAP is an application through New York State that is, again, more money that you can help pay for school. And basically, after you apply to schools, after you do your FAFSA and your TAP applications, schools, hopefully you'll get accepted into the schools you want, and then they give students what's called a financial aid award. And so basically that's like a summary of all the money you're getting to help pay for school. So that could be grants or scholarships, which is free money that you're getting to help pay for school, or that could also include loans, which is money that you eventually do have to pay back. So OnPoint wants to make sure, like, before you go to school or your job training, that you understand kind of what all the costs are, because sometimes that can be really overwhelming, and to make sure that you are receiving enough money to pay for school. And of course, we'll talk to you. We want to make sure your parents understand that as well. So you feel confident about that, all that money stuff before you start going to school. If you don't remember anything of what I'm talking about, I'm sure you're going to remember this, because every summer, if you're a new student going to school for the first time, we do what's called an orientation. And so this past summer was a little different. We did it all virtual. And basically, we go over what to expect in college. And then we also give students school supplies. So you'll get a backpack, you'll get a bunch of school supplies, you'll get even like some personal items like an alarm clock or shampoo, conditioner. And then we actually gave all of our students that went through orientation a laptop as well. And then in addition to that, if you're living on campus, we also give students bedding. So that way you are like as prepared as possible. You have the knowledge from the orientation, and then you have all kind of like the physical stuff that you need to be okay in school. So that's the orientation. So again, you can get a free laptop, and no, it's not a MacBook, because I get that question all the time. We are not made of money like that. I wish we were. I don't even have a MacBook. But it's a computer that is usable and it has a webcam. So that's the orientation. And then after that, once you're in school, you're continuing to be in our program. So we always tell students we all have OnPoint cell phones. We're super accessible. You can call us, you can text us, you can email us. We normally will visit you on campus if you go to school in New York State. So we go to OCC every week. We go to SU or Buffalo State or Brockport once a semester to check in with you all. And we want to make sure you're transitioning okay. One thing I forgot to mention, that if you go to school outside of the Syracuse area, we do provide transportation. So if you're going to school in Albany, we can pick you up, put all your belongings in the car, and bring you to school. And then also pick you up for breaks as well. But like I was saying, we visit students at school, not during a pandemic, but hopefully, we'll be able to do that again soon with that. And then we also have career services that works with students to find jobs. They help students find internships. We actually have a paid internship program that you can get placed at an organization or business related to like what you want to study, and get experience and get paid. So it's a really, really great program. And they even help students find jobs after they graduate college. So our program, really, we help you get into college, we help you get ready for college, and we help you stay in college. I know I didn't talk about EOP, so I do want to make sure I talk about that just to backtrack. So EOP is for basically SUNY schools, public schools, and then HEOP, it's very, very similar, is for private schools, so like SU or Le Moyne. And so that is a program that we always say you got to apply as early as possible because the spots can fill up pretty fast. And schools basically look at your family size and your family's income, and then also your grades in school. So they actually accept students. Normally the average is a little different for each school. Some, like if you have all A's, they say, okay, EOP and HOP basically are like an extra support for students that maybe don't have all A's. So if you have all A's, you actually probably won't get into EOP or HOP. There'll probably be other programs you can get into. But those programs are more for students that maybe don't get all straight A's. And they are an extra support system. Sometimes they help students pay for books. Sometimes they give them a grant, so some free money to help pay for school. They have advisors that kind of work with them, tutors. EOP is a really, really great program. So I always tell students to apply to EOP or HOP if you go to a public or private school. And we also help with that process as well, because every school, their process to apply is a little different. Like, for example, Syracuse University, when you apply to SU, you automatically are applying to HOP. So there's nothing extra you have to do. But with OCC, there's actually a separate application that you have to fill out. So we definitely help students do that a lot. We have many, many students in those programs. I am just gonna like pause and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, but I wanna like open it up to any questions that you all might have. If I can figure out how to stop sharing. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So does anyone have any questions about OnPoint or just like college questions in general?
So how do we apply for it? Is it online or?
How do you apply for OnPoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So I can pull, actually, you know what? I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. And you can just contact me. And basically, we do both in-person appointments and virtual appointments. So we can either have you come into the office and sign up, or we can do a virtual appointment and have you sign up that way. I'm going to put my email in the chat. And you all can email me and we can make an appointment to have you sign up for any of you that are interested. Okay, let's see.
Hey, Abduweli's not here, so you guys are going to have to ask your own questions now.
Oh, it looks like Makatub. I'm sorry, I probably said your name very wrong.
Oh, I've done that for years.
Yeah, it's okay. I was wondering, so when you sign up for the program, is it like all 4 years of the college that you stay in it, or do you have to like reapply every year?
For OnPoint?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you sign up for OnPoint, we always say once you sign up, you're always part of OnPoint. So we kind of treat OnPoint like a big family. So you only have to sign up for our program once. And we've had students, you know, go to school, get their associate's degree or bachelor's degree, work for a while, and then go back to school and get their master's, and they're still part of our program. So you can pretty much are part of OnPoint for life. We have a huge number of alumni that have gone through our program, and they have like all different events and networking opportunities as well.
And that's the one thing why I want to OnPoint here and you guys to talk to them, is because they're not just going to be here for your senior year. They're going to help you through the whole process. And a lot of freshmen have trouble during that first year of college, and they are a good support system to help you get through that.
Yeah. Omar has your hand up.
So is the EOP and HOP program through you guys?
Nope. So those are through each school that you apply to.
All right. And like for the HOP program, you have to be selected for it, right? Like you go and interview and stuff like that.
Yeah, so every school is a little different. Some schools do have interviews for HOP, but not all of them do. But yeah, so basically whatever schools you apply to, and again, it's school by school basis, there'll be either an application process for it, or you'll automatically apply to it when you apply to the school. And then once you apply to EOP or HOP, they'll be in contact with you to say, oh, we need to set up an interview, or we need this information from you. And they'll kind of walk you through that process.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Is there like a deadline or a suggested timetable that these guys should be doing, like the FAFSA and the applications and that kind of stuff? Is there like a recommended timetable on that?
Yeah. So part of it depends on what schools you are thinking about applying to. For four-year schools, you want to apply sooner. So if you're thinking about going to SU or Lemoyne, I would apply and do your FAFSA before the end of this year. If you are thinking about going to OCC, you have a little bit more time. I would say you should probably do all your applications and your FAFSA by March is a good time to do that. I would say, though, the sooner you can do, if you can do a lot of your applications and your FAFSA before the end of this year, that's normally a really good thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, got another question. Sherwa.
Is there a deadline to join you guys?
No, there is. Yeah, there's no deadline. You can sign up for a program anytime. I would say definitely sign up before next summer. Sure. Kind of like the FAFSA and college applications, I would say it's good to sign up with us maybe by the end of this year. And then that way we can kind of make sure that you're getting everything done. And, sometimes students come to us like last minute, like during the summer, and we always tell students to try to avoid that. So I'd say the sooner the better, but there's technically no deadline to sign up with us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, can you just go over the grant and the free money versus the loan money? Because last week we had somebody on. He just kind of said, this is how much money you're going to get, but he really didn't explain that there is some money that is going to be said in the award letter that you have to pay back. And that could be very deceiving for our men, thinking they're going to get, an extra $5,000, but that's got to be paid back $5,000 versus a free $5,000.
Yes, that is a very big difference. So most students we find get some type of grant money, which again is money you don't have to pay back, it's free. A lot of times that money covers tuition. Not always, but a lot of times. I would say the biggest time or the biggest reason students have to take out loans is because they decide to live on campus. Unless they're getting like a full-blown scholarship, which can be hard to get sometimes. If you're living on campus, I would say 99% of the time you have to take out loans. And that is just because housing and a meal plan is like the most expensive part of college. And that isn't a way to discourage anyone from living on campus. I lived on campus. I wanted to get the college experience and live on campus. But I would say every student's different. Some students are like, I want to get out of Syracuse. I want to do something different. I want to be on my own. And that is just their personal choice, and they're okay taking out loans. Some students, if you go to OCC, I would say a lot of times students are able to just use their grant money if they live at home and attend OCC. And they, a lot of times, again, not always, but a lot of times don't have to take out loans if they're living at home. I don't know if that answers your question enough. But basically with loans, again, that is money that you're borrowing. So that is included in the amount of money that you have to pay for school. One, it doesn't mean you have to take out your loans. But sometimes they're like, the schools say, oh, here's $20,000 in financial aid. But that means all different categories of money. So that's grants, that's scholarships, and loans. And $5,000 of that $20,000 could be loans that you have to pay back after you finish school.
Right, because when and some of these guys know my son Zachary, when we were going through his whole thing, he got awarded, money for tuition. Then it said also an award of, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000, and I'm like, but we don't want to take that because that is going to be money you're going to have to pay back. And so it wasn't as clear as day. It was kind of like they wanted you to take the money because you would have it for your expenses and for books and fees, but we didn't want him to go into debt,
Yeah.
especially with a 2-year school, and so that was an easier way for him to go through school and not accumulate a lot of debt. But I could see how very easily somebody could click on that dot and say, oh, we want to take that money too. Maybe not realizing that it's got to be paid back starting when they're graduate college. So
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a little confusing, but that's also kind of why OnPoint is here, is we want to make sure that like when you do get that offer of how much money you're going to go to school, like that you understand what it all means. Because yeah, it can be confusing or even can be a little deceiving sometimes. So, and it's really case by case, like every student situation is different. We always say that as well. So, I can say general things, but sometimes we really have to kind of just sit down and look over everything to make sure that you understand it. Omar, you have another question?
So, say you do get accepted into EOP or HEOP, what
Yeah.
are the requirements to stay in it?
What are the requirements to stay in it? So they do normally want to make sure that your GPA is okay. It's pretty hard to not be in it. Like, I have not heard of many students having to like be removed from EOP, but they want to make sure that you're engaged. I would say the biggest thing with EOP is they want to make sure that you're involved in their program. So I have had students where they're like, I'm in EOP, but I've never gone to their office, and they have an expectation that you go and meet with an advisor. I'm just making this up because every school is different. Twice a semester. You're obligated. You have to go to EOP twice a semester. Another thing that EOP and HOB has is they have a summer program. And you have to do that summer program to be an EOP while you're in college. So normally it's 5 weeks. For example, at OCC, I believe it starts in like July, and it's 4 or 5 weeks, and it's from like 9 to 3 Monday through Thursday. And you are required to go to all of them in order to stay in the program when you're in school. And then, like I said, once you're in school, meeting with your advisor, every school is a little different, but I would say normally it's like twice a semester. So yeah. Another really cool thing about EOP and HEOP is, say you start off at OCC and you want to transfer to SU or Buffalo State, it can actually transfer with you. So if you're in EOP at OCC, it can follow you to HEOP at SU, which is pretty great.
that is cool.
And even grad school as well. So
My sister was in the EOP program at OCC, and when she was transferring to Lamar, she had to like sign the HEOP thing over again and like restart the process.
okay. Yeah, sometimes it's not guaranteed when you transfer, but it's like there's a really high chance that you'll get into the school when you transfer. But yeah, you do have to like apply again. There's like some documents that have to be filled out. So sure, another question?
If you get like a lot of scholarship money, would that like we still get the same amount of financial aid, you think, or
Yeah, that's a really
decrease
good
it?
question.
Yeah.
So yes, so with financial aid, the Pell and the TAP grant. So Pell is from the federal government, and then TAP again is from New York State. Those are like they award you a certain amount based on your family's income. And so even if you get like a full ride scholarship, like you'll still get those grants. They're not allowed to take those away. Now, what schools sometimes do is they'll like, I've seen this before where they give students a full scholarship for their tuition, but the scholarship like basically what they do is they have the tuition and then they subtract Pell and TAP from it, and then that leftover amount is the scholarship that they give you. But if you apply to like outside scholarships, like I know Wegmans gives scholarships to their employees, maybe you get a scholarship through school, that's not going to affect the amount of financial aid for Pell and TAP that you get. So definitely apply to as many scholarships as you can.
Okay.
All right. Maktaba? Maktab? Can you tell me how you pronounce your name?
It's Makatube.
Makatube. Okay, Makatube. Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering about like the internships. Like, do they take part during the summer?
Yes. So once you start college, you can qualify for our internship program. Again, you have to apply for it. But it is during the summer break or the winter break. So in college is super nice. Some of you may already know this, but school actually, like between the semesters, you get at least a month off of no school. So that's typically when they have the internships, in the summer or winter.
Do you know what kind of fields like have the internships or?
Yeah, oh my gosh, all different fields: technology, business, education, human services, a little bit of medical. But I would say, yeah, technology, business, education, human services are the biggest ones.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all asked some good questions. Oh, sure.
When do you think you'll know like when you get the financial aid? Like,
When you'll get,
yeah.
yeah. So it's a bit of a process. So you don't get financial aid until you've been accepted into the school. So it kind of, some students things a little differently. So some students apply to schools first and then do their financial aid. Some students do financial aid before they apply to schools. But basically, they don't give a student their financial aid award information until they've been accepted. So say, for example, you've been accepted into the school. Normally, and assuming you've done your FAFSA, normally it's a few weeks after that. Been accepted and have done your FAFSA, a few weeks after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jerry.
How do you actually apply for the schools? Do you like go on their
Apply for
website?
schools. Yeah, so there's two applications for four-year colleges. So the Common App, which I'm sure some of you may have heard of, basically is really great for private schools. So like SU or Lemoyne or Siena College in Albany. That is the application that you would use, is called the Common App. Another application is called the SUNY app, and that is only for public SUNY schools. And then if you're planning to apply to a two-year college, you actually are going to apply directly through the school. So there's the school website. So if you want to apply to OCC, you Google OCC, And normally on their homepage, it has like a button you can click that says application, and it probably will take you like 10 minutes to fill out that application. 2-year colleges are pretty easy to apply to. And also, I don't know if all of you know the difference between a 2-year and a 4-year, but a 2-year college, you can earn your associate's degree. And typically, when you go to a 2-year college, you're either studying something kind of more broad, and then you transfer to a 4-year college to study something more specific. Or at a 2-year college, you're studying something and then you're planning to work right after. So an example of that would be like business technology at OCC or nursing at OCC, though, you can continue school, but there's kind of 2 types of routes you can go with associates. And then the 4-year is you get your bachelor's degree. I thought I saw more hands raised, but now I don't see them. Oh, Abdurrahman.
Do you know how long it takes to like get accepted into a college?
Yeah, so so basically you have to fill out an application and you have to send your high school transcript. Those are kind of like the 2 things you have to do for your application. As long as you've done those 2 things, typically it's maybe like 2-3 weeks normally. If you're doing early decision, which that is next month, sometimes that's a little sooner, but I would say normally 2 to 3 weeks. Again, with the pandemic, sometimes things take a little bit longer. I'm noticing, like kind of on all levels of everything, it just takes a little longer for things to process. But yeah, normally 2 or 3 weeks.
So what would you say the first thing that these guys should be doing right now would be?
Yeah, if you're seniors, the first thing you need to be doing is figuring out what schools you want to apply to. I always tell students to apply to at least 3 schools. I think 5 is really, really great, but at least 3. Just to see what your options are with schools. So your first step is to figure out what those schools are. And if you're like, I have no idea what schools to apply to, that's kind of where we come in. We can have an appointment and kind of like talk one-on-one to figure out, what you want to study and kind of what schools you're looking for. So that's the first step, figuring out what schools. Then once you know what schools, I would say the next step is actually applying. So that could be either through the Common App that I talked about, or the SUNY app, or through the school website, depending on what type of school you're applying to. All right. Abdurrahman, you have another question?
Yeah, I'm also confused about like the Say Yes. Do we also have to apply for that?
Yeah, so Say Yes is very easy to apply to. They recommend that you don't apply to Say Yes until you know what school you're going to. The reason of that is when you fill out their application, there's like this little button that you have to check off that says enrolled. And you can only do that for 1 school. And so it's a very, very easy application, but they recommend that you don't fill that out until you know what school you're going to. Or if you fill it out, then you're going to have to go back and just update it and let them know what school you're going to.
Yeah, you guys are doing pretty good tonight.
Yeah, y'all are asking great questions. And especially at this time, I'm sure you all are tired of looking at a computer screen all day. So y'all are asking good questions. Okay.
Salimo, you got anything? I know you're kind of late in joining. You got any questions?
Oh no, I'm just listening right now.
I did record the whole thing, so you can catch the recording, the stuff that you missed. I'll have it up tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to say your name wrong again. Makhatub.
You're getting there.
Keep the questions coming, though.
I was wondering, while we're like enrolled in college, do you guys offer like tutoring for like certain like classes and stuff?
Yeah. So 2 answers to that. One, your schools will have tutors for free that you can make appointments with. They do both in person, again, depending on kind of what everything looks like with COVID, and also online. And then OnPoint has actually just started tutoring this semester. So we have some volunteers that tutor students one-on-one on a subject. But whatever school you go to will also have tutors as well. Seriously, you all ask really good questions. Like I've had some presentations where a student, like none of the students ask questions. So this is great. And I'm sure some of you have siblings in college. Like Omar, maybe I know your sister at Lemoyne.
Yeah, her name is Marianne.
Oh yes, I know Marianne. Awesome. Any final questions? Oh, Sherwa.
Yeah, I was wondering if you need like certain like forms for the FAFSA because I heard like you need like a W-2, like tax papers and stuff like that. So I was curious about that.
Yeah. So, for the FAFSA, you are gonna need your family's 2019 taxes if they filed taxes, and W-2s. And if you worked in 2019, you'll need your W-2s or taxes for that as well. So W-2s and taxes from 2019.
All right.
Any final questions? So again, you can email me if you're interested in signing up for OnPoint, and then we'll also make sure that you can get our calendar for our tours, and we can also give you guys our contact phone number as well.
Could you send me the tour calendar?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And I can get that out to everybody too.
Okay.
All right. So gentlemen, here's the story. Anyone going to a 4-year school that needs to do an essay for college, all right, MBK is doing a college essay writing series, November 2nd, 5th, and 9th. It's from 6:30 to 7:30. And there's a link I can send you that you have to sign up for. Because this is the guy from New York State, Ed, is actually putting on. There's about 140 guys from around the state that are already signed up for this conference. So usually for a 2-year school and a SUNY school, you don't have to do an essay, right?
For student, no. Yeah, normally no. It's
So
mostly private schools, or if they're filling out the Common App, they ask an essay question.
Okay. So if you're interested, let me know. We got to do that as soon as possible. And then finally, next week, we got 3 guys from SUNY Cortland that are going to be on, and they're going to talk about being in college, because they're all 3 college students. I think they're juniors and seniors in Cortland. So they will be here next week as we continue our college series. I think there was somebody had a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask when you're like, you know how you guys said since like some people are going to 2-year college like OCC, they don't need to do a college essay, right? But like if you're transferring from OCC to another college, do you have to do it then?
Yes. I mean, it depends on the school, but yes, sometimes you do.
Right. But if you go
You
from
like
SUNY school to SUNY school, you don't have to. But if you go to a private school, you might have to.
can you like do it like before you go when you're going into the 2-year college, and then like when you're transferring, it just transfers with you?
That's a good question. I would say it doesn't hurt to write it now, but I think your writing skills and kind of like what you would want to write would probably change between now and then, believe it or not. your writing skills can change a lot in 2 years in college. So I think
Thank you.
it doesn't hurt to write some of it, but. Oh, Jerry. Jerry has another question.
I just wanted to clear up. You only have to write one essay for every school you're going to, right? Or is it one each?
So it depends on the school. So the Common App, I'm going back to that, which again is like you can apply to a bunch of schools on there. So there'll be one essay question on there, but sometimes the individual schools also ask kind of like mini essay questions. So I know SU and Lemoyne both ask kind of like, what makes you want to go to SU or what makes you want to go to Lemoyne? And so that's kind of like another essay that you have to write. So sometimes it's one big essay and then like one or two smaller ones. It's awesome that you all get some support with writing essays and stuff. That's really good.
All right. Everybody good? You're all fired up to get on to that college essay or Common App or SUNY app? All right. All right. If you like to thank Michelle, and then that would be wonderful. And then I'll see some of you, hopefully all you guys, next Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
night.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
night,
you.
guys.
Thanks.
All right, see you guys.